These are very challenging and unprecedented times, and I know that in moments like these, I need to constantly remind myself that it's okay to not be okay. As a global community, we are being asked to behave in ways that we are not accustomed to. And when emotions, tensions, and stress arise, some of our coping mechanisms might not be available to us. And that's true for everyone, from major corporations down to individuals like you and me who are being asked to shelter in place. We know that trauma and stress can activate symptoms that can cause or worsen anxiety, depression, bipolar, some of the names that we have for what we know is mental illness. But just like COVID-19, mental illness isn't something that we all understand very well. We're hoping that through some of these short stories, we can change that. We're all going through something right now that's very obvious, but when you add a cultural lens to the mix, mental illness becomes even more complicated. Kassandra is a Hispanic female in her sophomore year at a university. She grew up in a border town where 90% of the town spoke Spanish. Yet in school, all of her teachers required everyone to speak English. But when she would go home, her entire family spoke Spanish, which created a language barrier and just some generational isolation. The oldest of 3 siblings, Kassandra moved from a single parent home into a home with domestic violence. But she found strength in school, excelling in swimming and wrestling. She was a caretaker to her younger siblings and was almost expected to take care of them without complaining about her own crippling symptoms. She had a strong self-harm habit, depression, anxiety, and even tried to take her own life.
My childhood was really rough. Well, because my mom wasn't really around because she was doing school, she was always working. My dad didn't have a job, but so he raised us, but there was issues with him and my mom. They weren't happy. They were always fighting. There's a lot of intense stuff was going on that I feel like no child should be a part of. The moment you have to call the cops on your own parent isn't something, or have to talk to police about what you saw, or that's something you should never experience. I feel like that takes a toll on someone. All that stuff was going on there, and I felt like I had to protect my brothers from it, because I didn't want them to experience what I experienced, because I knew that it was not okay and I wasn't a child I was supposed to be because of it. I tried to act more of an adult than anything growing up, because I was I need to take care of them. This is what I need to do. This is my job right now. And so I was always just stressed. I was always just sad. I was always just impulsive, lashing out. And I was that person that didn't really care about anything. They could take away my phone, they could take away anything. I'd be I don't care. They mean nothing to me. What else are you gonna do, really? And then they were and I loved to read at the time because it was my escape. So they started threatening to take away my books. And I was at that point, I was you know what? Take my books away. Just take them. What else are you gonna do? You have nothing you can do that will actually upset me. And that just kind of went on, and self-harming became one of the things where I did to de-stress. So that was something that I ended up starting to do. And then one day a teacher saw me, saw my cuts on my arm and everything, and they were healing, so they were barely there, but she saw, and I knew she saw too. I saw her glance. I was dang it. And I knew, I was hopefully she doesn't say anything. And so the whole day went on. I was okay, nothing's happened. And then at the end of the day, I was waiting for my parents to come pick us up, and they were hey, we need to talk to you in the principal's office. I'm gosh, dang it. And I go look at my friend, I'm they're going to talk about me about this. And she was probably. And I was yeah. And so whenever that was realized, I started going to therapy. I went to a psychiatrist, and I was diagnosed with severe anxiety and depression, which made sense, but it was something that was okay, I knew I kind of had it, but I didn't realize how bad it was. And then it just kind of got worse as I got older. I started having anxiety attacks. I've always been medicated, unless I decided not to do it, but I've always been on it. And then after that moment happened where I went to the hospital, they were she is a contender for having bipolar disorder. It's something I've kind of come to terms with, though, especially the idea of me having bipolar disorder, because I'm okay, I know I need to take my medicine now. I know I need to do these things, because even if I do feel okay, it's always so fast to switch back, which is why I'm really impulsive. I have a really impulsive and addictive personality because of it, which is why I have to be extra careful with the things I do. So, and it's a lot.
Kassandra found so much healing when she realized that despite the layers of cultural differences, her family loves her so much. Even when she attempted to take her life, her grandfather never left her side. She's also a big proponent of speaking out and telling her story because she knows that when she does that, other people feel free to do so too and can get the help that they need. She's staying healthy through consistent meds, therapy, and helping others, and takes pride in being there for her friends and advocating through change. She's even got her eye on being an immigration lawyer and is taking life one day at a time. But more than anything, Kassandra knows that it's okay to not be okay.